Thank you for downloading Cavs on the Break NBA podcast. In this episode, Sam and I recap our Round 1 series matchup with the Indiana Pacers. We recap Game 1 of our Round 2 matchup against the number 1 seeded Raptors. And we preview the rest of the series against Toronto. Also, if you're a fan of the Cleveland Browns, check out our Browns podcast, the Orange is Oranger Browns podcast. I'm joined by Browns insider Jeremy and Akron, and we bring you the very best Browns coverage and analysis you'll find in podcast form. We are the premier Cleveland Browns podcast. You can find that anywhere you listen to podcasts. Check us out on Twitter at Orange is Oranger. Okay, here it is. Sam and I with your Round 1 recap and Round 2 Raptors series preview. Enjoy the show.
Iguodala to Curry, back to Iguodala, up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James. It's over. It's over. Cleveland is a city of champions once again. The Cavaliers are NBA champions.
That sound means it's time for Cavs on the Break NBA podcast. I'm your host, Chase Smith. With me, Cavs insider, national NBA writer, Sam Amico of AmicoHoops.net and ProHoopsDigest.com. Sam, what's up, man?
Oh, not much. Just another exciting series that has gotten off the ground here.
That is true. Round 1 has come and gone, probably much to the relief of many Cavs fans. Cavs survive a Game 7. We are one game into Game 2. Sam, let's talk about that. Let's tie a bow on this Round 1 clobber knocker that the Cavs went through with the Pacers. Went to 7 games. We haven't talked in 4. Sam, they played 4 times since we've last talked. We saw Game 5, Game 6, Game 7, and Raptors Game 1. Let's rewind the clock. Game 5 was in Cleveland. The series was tied at 2, and we saw LeBron put on a show for the ages, Sam.
He hit that last second shot, and I think that really, because the Pacers really came back, and I think that really kind of make the Pacers maybe got into their heads a little bit, even though they blew them out in Game 6. I think that got into their heads a little bit that, boy, no matter what we do, they still have LeBron James and we don't.
100%. And that was so evident in this series. And I'll go as far as to say this, Sam. I thought and I watched the Pacers have a better team. I watched and thought the Pacers played better defense. I watched and thought the Pacers had the better coach. But at the end of the day, when you see games like Game 5, when you see games like Game 7s, if you have a super-duper legendary Hall of Famer, GOAT status player who is head and shoulders above everybody else on any team, ultimately in the playoffs, that's all that matters.
Yeah, and that's, a superstar factor has always been a huge factor in the NBA playoffs, especially when the guys around him, even if they're not playing well, have kind of been there before. And look,
understatement.
J.R. Smith has been there before.
Yep.
Tristan Thompson. And you look at, Game 7, the Cavs started 4 guys in LeBron, Tristan, Kevin Love, and J.R. Smith, who had been part of a team that went to 3 straight finals.
Yep.
And I think that really plays a role, especially, as you said, if you surround that, if you have that experience and that type of superstar player in LeBron James, your odds are always pretty good.
Yep. That was the very first thing LeBron mentioned after Game 7 when they were interviewing him on the home court in Cleveland. The very first thing he said was, we went to the guys that we knew, the guys that had been there before, guys that had been in Game 7s, guys that had played at much higher stakes. And that really did seem to make a difference, Sam. Yeah,
well, and that – historically, that's been the case in the NBA playoffs, is the teams that are getting a little bit older, that have that experience, they use that in the playoffs because they know they can push their bodies and they know when and where to push their bodies, and they know how to make winning plays. They don't shy away in the moment because they've been in so many big moments. So for these Cavs, big moments have been commonplace. I mean, they never, nothing is ever easy for them. Even when LeBron, even when they won the championship, they were down 3-1.
Yeah.
So this is a team that always believes in itself. The majority of these guys, anyway, and even guys like Kyle Korver has played in a finals now, was part of a 60-win Hawks team.
Yeah.
So it really helps in the playoffs to have a veteran team. especially if one of those veterans' name is LeBron James.
That's true. And we saw in Game 7 the trick, the chess move that Ty Lue made, that Coach Lue made, was starting Tristan Thompson, of all people, who went from playing minutes barely in the first couple of games to starting and contributing and being a major factor. And I think probably helped win that game and win this series. And Tristan Thompson, was that a surprise to you, Sam? Or was the bigger surprise how well he played?
Well, first of all, it was a little bit of a surprise when he started because I thought leading up to Game 7, he had only played 24 minutes in the entire series. And so, he was averaging 4 minutes a game going into the Game 7. But I just remember before Game 7, I thought, why not start Tristan? Because the Pacers have been more physical. And Tristan has been there before. Why not start 4 guys who have been parts of teams? Kevin Love missed that first year with the shoulder injury. But in essence, 4 guys who had been on a team that had been to 3 straight finals. So, I didn't think that was such a terrible idea, despite the fact Tristan had started or hadn't played. And I think that a lot of people were surprised by how well he played. He was shot out of a cannon, and maybe the benching. Yeah, right. Maybe the benching earlier in the series played a role in that and kind of helped him realize, hey, you're going to have to really bring it to get on the floor. But we've been ripping, or at least I have been hard on Ty Lue all season, and I thought that move was a good move in the sense because the Pacers had been so much more physical than the Cavs. Yep. So I thought that contained their physicality, and then of course Tristan Thompson really, like LeBron said after the game in Game 7, it's too bad we can't split the game ball in half and award it to both George Hill, who also played great in the second half when he finally got in the game, and Tristan Thompson. So. 2 key factors in that Game 7, and that's usually what you need. You usually need in a Game 7 someone new to come in and play a big role and step up.
And the Cavs were looking for this interior presence, this defense around the rim protection, and Tristan was that guy, and they didn't really have that really all season. And what a time for that to come alive. He was setting incredible picks. He was doing what he's being paid to do. And all fourth quarter, the Pacers did not have an answer for that high screen with Tristan. And the Cavs just kept going to it and really put the game away. That the Corver LeBron kind of pick and layup there sealed it. But Tristan was a huge part in that. I'd seen him play in the season, and he was not that active. He was not that court. Like, he did not play well this season. And this is the best ball. He's playing his best ball right now, and it cannot come at a better time. Sam, I want to talk about game. I want to just talk about that buzzer beater really quick. Were you at that game?
Yes.
So you were at that game. What was it like when LeBron hit that shot and then he jumped on that scorer's table and the place was going nuts? What was the feeling there?
It's funny because you've seen it. I've seen it before when he did that against Orlando in 2009, but they lost that series.
Yep. That was the very same spot on the court almost.
Right? Pretty much the same shot.
The arms up.
Yeah, and but they were down at 1-0 in that series when he hit that shot. They would have been down 2-0 against Orlando. This game,
they were losing too. Like it wasn't tied.
Yes, right. It was. They were getting beat. So, it was. He has a way of electrifying the building, and that's really. People were going nuts, and it was one of those few times that everybody stayed not only to the end of the game, but like 10, 15 minutes after the game before they started hitting the exits, because I think that they were pretty amazed with what they had just witnessed. So
some of them probably were going to the Indians game too. I think they had an Indians game that night.
You may be right. I get there so much earlier than the actual game starts and leave so much later after it's over that I never really know if the Indians are playing.
You're rubbing it in. You're rubbing it in now.
I'm sorry, but if I don't go, I get in trouble. My friends always say that, man, you get to go to every Cavs game. I'm like, when I was working at Fox Sports, I would say, not only do I get to go to every Cavs game, but if I don't go, I get yelled at. I got to be there. In fact, they're paying me to be there.
Okay.
So anyway, that's my life.
So, true or false? When LeBron jumped on the table, he said, "This is my city."
That I can't attest to.
Because I had friends text me saying
it wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't
there's
surprise me at all.
no way he's leaving after jumping on that table and saying, like, this is my house, this is my city. Like, there's no way he's leaving. Did that make you feel like that was a I'm staying moment or the end of a chapter moment?
I don't think we should read too much into the first round of the playoffs in terms of, trying to. Although if they had lost, we could have certainly made a case that he's not staying. I really think that, quite honestly, that LeBron is leaning towards staying, but I don't know that he's said, this is exactly positively what I'm doing. I think that he's going to wait till some of this stuff plays out, see what happens in the off season. Yeah. I think one of the factors is going to be, I don't think this will be the determining factor, but I think if he starts pushing them to trade that draft pick on draft night and go get a type of guy who, whether it's a Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, who could do a sign and trade, or those type of guys. I'm not saying that those are the guys they're going to target. I do know that they are certainly monitoring the Kawhi Leonard situation.
Yeah.
But I don't know that, we can read too much into the playoffs unless the Cavs just have a terrible meltdown.
Yeah.
Or what if they make this huge surprising run and go up on the Warriors or Rockets or somebody in the finals and
let's go,
take
man.
a 1-0? You know what I mean? You never know. And people are saying, well, once they get to the finals, they're going to get swept. Or da-da. I'm not ready to go there with LeBron James. I'm not ready to say, it's over or he's going to leave or he's going to stay. I think that we need to be patient and just let it play out, because guess what? Knowing LeBron, there's probably not going to be any answer until July.
And that's a very insider reporter answer you gave. I'm a fan, so I'm going to say that when I see a player jump on the table like that and say, this is my house, like, man, he's staying forever. He's never leaving.
That could be, it's easy to get caught up in that, but
very easy as a fan.
It's hard to tell.
And there's no way he's leaving. He has this wristband that says, I promise. And so then as a fan, you start connecting all these like dots and you get all excited and you go to bed with a smile on your face. But I understand where you're coming from for sure. It's hard not to get caught up in the moment when, and then the Cavs won the series. So on to round 2, Sam, where we play the number 1 seed Toronto Raptors, and we had a game last night in overtime. The Cavs came away with the victory, stealing home court advantage. I want to read a couple posts on Reddit that I really enjoyed. This one said, it took the Raptors 82 games to get home court advantage over the Cavs and 1 to lose it.
Yeah, right. Well, and that's very true. 59 wins. Yep.
New sad Drake song incoming called Bronze Plan. I like that one. That was good. The Raptors are the NBA equivalent of people who do well in their homework but fail the test. But that was
that's pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty good.
The Raptors forgot to say that Game 1 was like Game 7 in this series.
Well, and I said that going into the series, I'll tell you that, Chase, as I said, I thought if the Raptors don't win both of those first 2 games at home, they're in trouble.
I 100% agree.
And I don't think the series is over by any stretch, but I think the Raptors are in serious trouble.
This one says, K-Love, like Kevin Love says this. They say he'll say, I will miss more shots than anyone you can possibly imagine. Alan Tunis says, hold my beer. Thought that was they're just really the Raptors are getting roasted online right now. So yeah, let's talk about that. They were down 0-1 and LeBron has won 7 straight games against the Raptors. Is it 7 or 8?
Well, yeah, he won two years ago, then 4 last year because they swept them.
Yeah, so
it'd be 7
games.
Yeah.
At what point does this become mental? Is it already mental?
Without question. I think that there's no doubt that it is. Look, you had a 33-19 lead at the end of the first quarter.
Yep.
You were shot out of a cannon if you're the Toronto Raptors. The Cavs kept coming back. They kept chipping into that lead, and the Raptors kept building it back up. So they were back up by 10 points in the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
At home in Game 1 with the whole crowd screaming behind you. LeBron not shooting that well.
No.
He only
had
Kevin Love,
27 points, I think, right?
26.
26.
He was 12 of 30 from the field. And guess what? Well, I didn't want to get this till later, but he did not score a single point in overtime.
Wow.
And then LeBron says afterwards, guess what he says? Yeah, I didn't play very. It was probably one of my worst games of the season.
Yeah, just a triple double. That's all.
Just a triple double.
27, 7, and 7 triple double. Yeah,
and if you're the Raptors, you're like, wow, we lost to a team where we had a 14-point lead at the end of the first quarter at home, and frankly, the Raptors' biggest game of the season.
Yep.
Which really now is going to be game 3 for them, because regardless, they're going to try to get home court advantage back if they can win one in Cleveland. So I just think
I agree.
And listen to this: the Raptors are 1-11 in game ones. Their one win this year came this year against Washington, and they're 1-7 in game ones at home. So, I think if you're the Raptors and this doesn't happen for you this year, you really, really got to start looking to make some changes. And it's just not. I know if I'm a Raptors fan or if I'm a member of the Raptors organization, I'm like, are you kidding me right now?
I think a huge insight into this team was the regular season game near the end of the season. I think there's 3 weeks left. They played in Cleveland. They went to Cleveland a day early, stayed in the city, got a shoot around in the arena, and they still lost. They got thumped that game. It wasn't even close.
Yeah. Exactly. And I think part of that, again, is they're just not as good of a matchup for the Cavs as Indiana. And guess what, Chase? Last year in the playoffs, guess who gave the Cavs the biggest problems in the Eastern Conference? Indiana.
Oh, yeah.
It was Indiana in the first round, and then they swept the Raptors and really should have swept the Celtics, but it won the first 2 in Boston. So
I'm never one to not admit when I'm wrong, and I was dead wrong about the Pacers. And I know I mentioned that a couple of episodes ago, but they were an incredible team. They played hard. I think that they're going to be a playoff team for the next 5 years at least. And if they keep making good moves, good trades, then they need Oladipo needs some help. But essentially, it was him and a bunch of cast-offs from a bunch of other teams that took the Cavs to 7, the LeBron to 7. Miles Turner's young. I think they have a lot of good things going on.
Sabonis, a great player, or very nice role player, I should say. Oladipo, and they're extremely well coached. Nate McMillan's an excellent coach, and they have a lot of money that they can spend this summer too. So, I don't know how you use that, but maybe you use it on a few bench pieces. They're going to have some guys who aren't back that weren't part of the rotation, but they'll be able to clear some roster spots. They're in a very, very good position. Yep. And a lot of us expected them. I think even Pacers themselves and their fans weren't probably sure if they were
overachieved. They had a great season. Yeah. Correct. Yeah. But I was talking to one of my friends a couple of days ago, and I said, if the Cavs can win game 1, I really genuinely think that there's a chance they could sweep. If I know the Raptors are a great team. They had an incredible season. They're really deep, but just this mental hurdle of getting over LeBron. And if they stole game 1, then I really think, LeBron's looking at this as man, I can get a week or so of rest.
Yeah.
And the worst thing in the world is to motivate LeBron for rest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I don't know what's going to happen these next, the next 6 games if we need to go that much, but the Cavs are in a very, very good position, and Toronto is reeling. This makes game 2 on Thursday a must-win for the Raptors.
Absolutely, and because the Cavs won 2 straight in Boston last year, right? They won those first 2 games in Boston, the Eastern Conference Finals, and they had no shot at all. So,
nope. All right, Sam. So let's put a bow here on game 1. The way the Cavs played, they eked out a win. What did you like? What you saw from the Cavs?
I think the most telling thing of this game was that they finally got some help from the other guys. And by that, I mean, this was the first time, game 1, in 8 playoff games, that somebody on the Cavs, other than LeBron James, scored at least 20 points. and that was J.R. Smith, who had exactly 20. Kyle Korver had 19. Jeff Green had 16. And Tristan Thompson had 14. So you had 5 guys in double figures.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you do that, I don't care who the Cavs are playing, then you're gonna get back to the finals for sure.
Yep, Jeff Green played well. He played really well.
He played very well. Obviously, Tristan, the second straight game, played extremely well. And you know what I think most that you have to like the most is that the Cavs used those. They fell behind by 10 in the fourth quarter, and I think all of a sudden they got the lineup that works figured out. And that's the worst news for the Raptors is here's what works against these guys. We just figured it out. And, if they can keep doing that, J.R. Smith hit some huge shots. Korver hit some amazing shots, including the one to give them their first lead at 108-105 in overtime, first lead of the game. And then look at this, too. Tristan Thompson scored their final basket of the game. He put back a LeBron miss. There was still 2 minutes and 17 seconds left in overtime when he made that basket. And the Cavs, I think, got things figured out defensively of what's going to work late in the game. And they did a lot of LeBron on Kyle Lowry, who had 3 points after the third quarter. He hit a runner where he got fouled by Love, and the ball just happened to go in. So I think that that's the main thing that I like if you're the Cavs going into Game 2 is we found something here now that works against Toronto.
So hopefully we can capitalize. Sam, what are some keys to the series here? Game 2 is on Thursday, 6 p.m. tip-off in Toronto. If we want to see the Cavs advance to the conference finals for the 4th straight year, what would you like to see the Cavs continue to do here these next couple games?
Well, you got to make shots if you're Korver and JR. Again, you those two have to keep making shots. That's why they're out there. Make perimeter shots because guess what that does? That opens and makes things considerably easier for LeBron James to drive. I thought LeBron actually played a little bit tired on Tuesday night in Game 1, which is completely understandable given the minutes that he's had and given there's just one day between games. So I think that, with as much of the load as he's had to carry and with as little rest as he's getting, that I just think that the other guys, again, have to make shots. And you need Tristan Thompson to start playing or continue playing well, and you've got to start getting something more from Kevin Love. I think if one game Kevin Love can get something going, then he'll be fine moving forward. But, again, it has to be against Toronto, and if they get past Toronto, it's got to be more than just LeBron. They have to get, 3 or 4 other guys having good games. Not great games, but good games, and I think they'll be okay. And I'd like to see more Tristan. I don't like this George Hill-Tristan switching against Toronto. Toronto's a big team, and hey, look, Valanciunas ate Kevin Love alive, so I think that they need to keep Tristan Thompson on him, and Love is more comfortable playing power forward, so put him there.
As crazy as this sounds, Tristan Thompson, I think, is going to be the key to this series and honestly the playoffs. And that is really scary for me to think. Anytime Tristan Thompson is your secret weapon, like I don't know how that bodes for your team, but he's playing incredibly well right now. And I think we've got to continue to ride that. It really helps matchups wise for the Cavs, helps defensive matchups more importantly, and gives us that interior presence that we don't really have without him, honestly.
Well, he does a great job not only switching on guards on defense, he did a great job on Valanciunas, who's a big center, who's going to beat the living tar out of you underneath. And I thought he did a nice job there. And then I think, they keep taking Tristan out for offensive purposes, but it's like the guy's averaged 14.5 points in the last 2 games. So, you don't need to worry about his offense. He's going to get those cleanup plays that you need. And
second chance points, all
second chance, yes.
We surround LeBron with shooters, they're going to miss shots. LeBron's going to miss shots, and he does have a good job on the offensive boards. Well,
it's a good life lesson. He was terrible during the regular season, but he's bounced back nicely so far. And there's always you get a chance, you get another chance, make the best of it, and he's really done that.
Brings us to our new segment, Life Lessons with Tristan Thompson.
I don't think we want to go into too many of those.
Right. No. Sam, game 2 predictions here. Game 2 on Thursday night predictions.
I think Toronto's going to win simply because they have to win. I think the Cavs are a little bit tired, or a lot tired, and I think Toronto is too. But I just think Toronto has to win, so they're going to win. But I still think, I still now think the Cavs will win the series.
Sam, I'm going to say it again, man. I'm going to get another fan base upset.
You might as well keep it going.
I know the Raptors are going to be motivated. I know they're going to, they can't lose this, but the Cavs are tired. But they're looking at, man, if they win this game and take care of business at home, then that's rest. And that will prepare them. They know they have 76ers coming up or the Celtics. Either way, they present very different challenges. And I really think we're going to see a different kind of effort from the Cavs than we saw against the Pacers series away. The Cavs played terrible in Indiana. And I think we're really going to see a different team game too. So I'm going to say the Cavs are going to win by 10. I think it's going to be a pretty convincing win.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, you know what? You may be right. You never know.
You never know.
And I would not be surprised if the Cavs won. I wouldn't. I think that, we all know, we've all said that maybe they're in the Raptors' heads, but I just think the natural order of things or the way things typically go historically. But again, LeBron James is that great X factor that kind of changes history when it comes to trends and that kind of stuff.
Sam, you were spot on with your Pacers predictions. So you definitely know what you're talking about. I'm just a fan who loves the Cavs. So I'll pick them to win every game. I don't care. I'll do it.
There you go. Good enough. At least you're honest.
Well, that does it for Cavs on the Break NBA podcast. Thank you so much for downloading and listening and for checking out AmicoHoops.net and ProHoopsDigest.com. Do us a favor. Rate and subscribe and review our podcast on iTunes. Listen, it does help with the iTunes search algorithms and everything else. Let us know your thoughts. We would love to hear from you. Also want to thank you for following us on Twitter, for following Sam on Twitter at AmicoHoops. You can catch all of his work and writings at AmicoHoops.net and ProHoopsDigest.com. Follow us, like we said, on Twitter at Cavs on the Break for all the latest shows, analysis, insight, reactions. Immediately on Twitter. Also, listen. We are looking for sponsors for this podcast. If you have a business or an online venture and you want to sponsor, whether it's a game recap or a game preview or any of the segments we do on this show, like Life Lessons with Tristan Thompson, then please reach out to us, podcast@cavsonthebreak.com. Shoot us an email. We would love to send you our contract and information to get that ball rolling on that. And we want people to hear what you have to offer, what you have to sell, and we believe we can help improve the traffic in your business. So please reach out to us. We'd love to help. Sam, any final thoughts before we sign off here?
That's it. I look forward to talking to you after game 2 to see which one of us is right. And frankly, I hope that you are, as always.
Yeah. All right. Well, Sam, thanks for your time today, buddy.
All right. Thanks. Talk to you soon, I'm sure.
Mike Breen, take us out.
Congratulations, Cleveland. Your decades-long wait is finally over. The Cavaliers are NBA champions.